Diablo fue derrotado. Parecía que por fin conoceríamos la paz. Pero no fue así. Pues la esencia de Diablo perdura en la piedra de alma negra. No puedo destruirla, ni permitir que permanezca en los cielos. Hay que ocultarla, incluso de los ángeles. Rezo porque sea suficiente.
So, there's various different ways of getting items, and I think that the one that is the most fun or satisfying is killing a monster and getting that item off of his corpse. And that's really what the fantasy is about. The fantasy is not going shopping as such. That's not invalid. We have vendors in the game you can buy stuff. We have crafters where you can make your own weapons, and we have the auction house where you can trade with other players on sort of a grand scale. Those things aren't bad inherently, but the balance is off. There's way too much trading going on, and there's not enough killing monsters. So we have tried to make the most efficient way to get items. Diablo players are often very driven by how fast they can get items or how fast they can guarantee the best ones. We've tried to make it much more efficient to kill monsters and get things than to go on the auction house and buy things. So we are trying to limit the effect of the auction house dramatically.
Yeah, I think the way that sounds right to me is like the vision for how that works is that no player should feel like they have to go to the auction house to enjoy the game, right? Like if you have, if your gear is at a certain level and you just have there's one piece of gear that's just not dropping for you, your shoulders are just not as good as anything else that you have, and you want to go craft it at the blacksmith or look in the auction house, that's totally fine. But you should never feel like you have to go to the auction house to keep up with other players or anything like that.
Buen trabajo, Oradrim. Aquí termina vuestra labor. Solo queda... huid.
I think the loot stuff was, yeah, definitely. And it's not just the player response. I mean, we play a lot ourselves, and, I myself have trouble finding enough good drops, so it's not like that was alarmingly interesting or new to me, right? So the Dark and Gothic thing, I think that's been misleading and confusing for a while. Like, the opening act, Act 1 of Diablo 3, is very dark and grim, and the Skeleton King, it's full of undead, and it's horror and things like that. The issue is, if you think back to Diablo 1 was an intimate story, very appropriate to the horror genre. It's that one horrifying thing that was happening in that one town, and down deep in that dungeon, that horrible secret. Diablo 2 and Diablo 3 were more world-changing. They were more, it's a misused word, but we use the word epic sometimes to describe that. Yeah. You're saving the entire world, and the sense of doom that we tried to get in Diablo 3, the armies of hell are coming, and they arrive while you're doing it. It is the end of the world, as far as you're concerned, and you barely save it. And that's sort of something where we wanted to cover a lot of different things, but like harsh, deserts that are full of light, and death everywhere, and sun-bleached bones and things, that's just as horrifying as a dark basement, in a horror movie. So I think that the dark equals horror thing is really a tired trope. It's not bad, but it's overused. And so us having, color does not equal gaudy. Color equals variety, and variety is something that's really important in a game that's about replayability like ours is.
Nada detiene a la muerte.